Welcome to Mood and Food with Val Snow.
Do you want to explain what this channel is going to be?
Okay, yeah. This is my first video. Amanda's helping me figure out how to do this.
I'm his cousin. In case there's anyone here that's completely new, we are cousins.
I think anyone can cook, and that's kind of my #1 for this channel. 2, food should influence your mood. Like, it should change your mindset. So if you have any recipes or any ideas or even just a favorite food, I'll put my Instagram down below and you can send me a recipe or just a recommendation, because I want to do recipes that actually alter your mood.
And today
we're making cookies, like chocolate chip cookies that cure your depression. Well, manage.
Yes, cure. It's a cure-all. I talk about these cookies so much on my channel. I did a whole video in my Instagram stories on these cookies, but they never tasted the same as how you did it. And I think it's because of the browning butter.
Yeah, you gotta brown the butter, and that's a process. You gotta start with that one. It's gonna take a minute. Just be patient. And brown butter, you gotta be careful, because any elements of water, it'll just overflow. I like to give myself plenty of space in the pan. You can screenshot this, and it'll be just the recipe. If you already know how to cook, take the recipe and run. If you want to hang out with us, the third thing on our thing is we kind of just do therapy for each other, or just like, you know, managing our mental health is kind of like a daily exercise, just like the gym. So
you can't just go to the gym once and have a nice body forever. So mental health is something you got to work on every day.
And we're on a budget, so she's my therapist.
Free therapy. We'll give you our experience advice and you can take it or leave it.
Right, like a potluck.
Right.
Alright, let's get to this cookie thing. First tip I have for you is dry ingredients in one bowl, wet ingredients in another bowl. And I do count sugar as a wet ingredient because it can be melted down. And
how long was the butter going for?
Oh, so I don't really go with the butter. You just have to take your time and be patient and kind of whisk it and lift it up. I don't have an exact time. It's a color reference, and once it looks like a golden brown color and it has that smell that it just smells delicious, you know it's done. Like, it's almost caramel smell.
I will say though, when I was doing it, it took forever. When I was cooking, I was like, when is it gonna brown?
It does.
I was like watching it. Maybe I should have stepped away for a second.
Alright, so the flour, I already measured it out, and before anyone puts in the comments, I did not measure it in this. I did it with a dry ingredient measuring cup.
And then put it in there.
And then put it in here just so that we had it. And what I have here, because I'm doubling the recipe, is 2 cups of bread flour and 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. And then I'm gonna send it through here.
Oh, you sift it. I did not sift mine.
The reason I sift it is just, well, there's a lot of reasons, but it really makes it fluffier.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know that. But it's gonna get mixed together anyways. I guess in my brain, I'm like, I'm not gonna waste my time.
Well, the other reason I like to do it is if you get any moisture in your flour, it'll catch it, and you don't have any of that.
Yeah. Okay.
Or if you ground your own wheat because you're from a cult, then all of a sudden you catch all the little things that didn't.
You ground your own wheat?
Yeah, didn't we? Didn't you guys?
I didn't.
Oh, we always ground. I guess we ground everyone in Daniel's family's wheat.
Wow. We just ate oats like a normal order person. Just kidding. We did make bread and like homemade ice cream, which I've never met someone on the outside that's made homemade ice cream. Did you sift through the other one too? So you sift through all of the dry?
No, so you can. I just did it with the baking soda. I don't do it with the kosher salt, and I do like kosher salt because it's like a little bit like flakes. I don't do that because why? But yeah, there's something that got caught in the sift.
Yeah.
And I don't want to use whatever it is. Okay, we got espresso powder. I found this one on Amazon. You could probably just grind your own really fine. You need to grind your own coffee beans really fine and get like espresso powder.
Where'd you find it?
On YouTube.
Oh, no way.
And we're just putting it right back on YouTube for everyone else. I mean, I changed a couple things, but...
So you catch the yolk?
And then, there you go.
So you're only using the egg yolk, or are you only using the egg white?
So, yeah, I'm doubling the recipe, remember that. And I actually add a 3rd egg, even though I'm doubling it, because when I do when I brown the butter, it evaporates some of the liquid, And I feel like the extra yolk makes it more fudgy. And I like my cookies a little bit chewy.
So what do you do with the excess?
I either make some kind of meringue or eat breakfast with spinach.
Every time I come over here...
Sorry, we're gonna take a break.
A little break. Do you take this every day?
I try to. I always forget until you get here, then it reminds me.
Every time I come here, I have a ginger shot, I'll have... Well, this is the best tasting it's castor oil, right?
This one's kind of an omega mix.
It's so good, though. It tastes like orange Julius.
Makes me feel good.
You should do an episode on all the vitamins and things you take in a day.
Oh my gosh, nobody wants to see that.
I started doing kimchi because of him, because I was like doing all of these things for like, to make sure my knees feel good and to make sure da-da-da, and he's like, well, if you don't get D3, then your body won't even take it in anyways. And I'm like, what? So now I have kimchi. Well, when I'm back home, I have kimchi every day.
I'm trying to remember what I'm looking for. There's something. I'll just look at the recipe. Oh yeah, the butter. I put it in the freezer.
Oh, I put way more espresso powder in mine. And I did chunky espresso powder. It's like ground up.
Still warm. I'm just gonna let it sit as long as we can.
The butter?
Mm-hmm.
That was the butter?
Yeah, because that's really... I think we got everything else here. Oh, on the vanilla, I actually use vanilla bean paste, and you can find this on Amazon. It enhances the flavor just a little bit. And with my brown sugar that I use, it's dark brown sugar, and you want it, again, for enhancing the flavor. Like, you don't skim out on any of these ingredients, just go all the way. So being the second oldest, did you mama a lot?
Of 10 kids, yeah. Well, especially because when Cammy got married, then it was like I was the oldest, and I was driving kids to school, 15 years old. I think I told you the story, but my mom and dad would let me, or make me, have 5 kids in a 4-passenger car and drive them all the way to school, 30 minutes every single day. And then when I got pulled over, my parents got a ticket for allowing that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the cop was like, does your parents know that you're driving these kids illegally? And I was like, they told me to. I wouldn't be doing this.
Oh,
I'm driving to school. And then he gave them a ticket. So then they had a meeting with me and they were like, well, next time, like, you're going to keep doing it, but next time, tell them we don't know. I'm like, so I have to look like I'm kidnapping these kids? That's what it looked like. And it did happen again. And I told him, I was like, my parents don't know. And then he was like, if I catch you driving, I'm going to give you a ticket. And he was like watching me, and then I walked in, because you're not allowed to have a phone. So I walk into Smith's and I call Mom, and I'm like, Mom, the cop.
He's watching me.
He's watching me, what do I do? And she's like, just wait 15 minutes and then drive the rest of the way to school. I'm like, okay.
That reminds me of this time I got pulled over because I was doing the same thing, but I was old enough. But the cop was like, those kids should be in, how old are they? They should be in a car seat. And I'm like, I don't know, how old are you? Like, I'm asking, he's like, you don't know how old your siblings are? And I'm like, no, I have a lot.
How old are you? This one, this one, this one.
And then he was like bugging me, so I like told him, I'm like, give me my ticket, bitch. And then I was in cuffs. And I almost had
He handcuffed you?
Oh yeah.
Did you really call him a bitch?
I did.
Give me my ticket.
I know in the order you're not supposed to swear or whatever, but I did that time because I was just like, why are you wasting my time? I could see my house. I literally pointed at my house and it's right there.
Let me go. So he did. What did he say? Step out of the car, sir. And then
He said, well, in response to what I said to him, he was like, I don't think you know how this works. And then he told me to step out of the car. And then he called for backup, and then I got in like his car. And the only reason they didn't tow my car away is because my aunt drove by, and she's seen us, and she's like pulled over, and she's like, what's going on? Why is he in cuffs?
Oh my god.
It's like, he's too angry to drive.
Ah!
That's what he told her. So she got her husband to come over and drive my car because I was not safe. I was too angry to drive is what he said.
Even though it was right down the street.
Even though I could point at my house.
Oh my gosh, you never told me that story. That is crazy.
Oh, I have too many cop stories.
Wait, why'd you get pulled over?
He said my brights were on, which they weren't.
Oh my gosh, that is so stupid. I actually got pulled over for a good reason because I when a cop is behind you, you get anxiety, and especially because I didn't have a license. I'm 15. I'm not supposed to be driving. There was a cop in front of me and behind me. You know the turn to get to Ensign Learning Center. On that turn, it was green, but it was not like a light arrow green, and I just went, and this truck almost hit me because of the anxiety I was getting, and then all of a sudden his lights go whew, and it was right next to Ensign. So a bunch of polygamous moms in their vans were like, oh, Amanda got pulled over. Like my parents knew before the cops even like gave them a ticket. It was very embarrassing. At least I wasn't in handcuffs.
Yeah, that's probably. Well, never mind. I was gonna say that's the only time a cop handcuffed me.
That's not the only time I've been handcuffed. Okay, let it be known.
We're just waiting on that butter because it's got to cool down a little bit.
Because if it's too hot, then what?
Then you cook the eggs. You crystallize. You caramelize the sugar.
I didn't cool mine down either. I made a lot of mistakes, I'm realizing. I didn't cool mine down. I didn't sift through the stuff. I don't even think I browned it long enough because I was so impatient.
Did it look like this?
Priscilla made it look more like that. Because she was like, it's not done, you're not done. And I'm like, I think it is done.
Well, if you let the ingredients like stay in the fridge after you've already mixed it together and put them in like little cookie things, if you let it sit for a day in the fridge, all the flavors almost like marinate. They like it really just pops, and you can note like the notes of espresso powder, vanilla bean, all that stuff. Just like, oh my god, it's so good.
So it's even better the next day.
Yes. All right, I think we're ready to start mixing. It's probably gonna splash.
This is the dark brown sugar?
Dark brown sugar. And we got regular sugar. Sorry for your order, members. If you wanted me to make honey cookies, in the comments below, and I will do it for you because you're family.
This is the vanilla extract?
Yeah, this is the vanilla bean, and I don't know if you can see, but there's actually like the beans in it.
Oh wow.
Alright, let's start mixing. I think we're pretty much done.
That's all the ingredients except for the chocolate chips and stuff?
Yeah. And then I kind of just do it on low because I'm never in a hurry. Normally I do the wet ingredients because I do the butter earlier, and then I will do the dry ingredients as this is mixing. Flour, espresso powder, baking soda. This is the amount of I like chocolate chips a lot, and I did this is double recipe. So I did
a whole package.
well, 1 cup of dark and 3 cups of normal chocolate chips. And you can do half and half. It just depends on how much you like dark chocolate. And then this is optional, but I did 2 cups of nuts. And then, yeah.
These are pecans?
These are pecans. They're my favorite ones. And this is literally the max that this thing can handle.
Really?
It starts freaking out.
Holy crap, that's so much. Do you want some dough with your chocolate chip?
So it tries to escape.
You gotta hold it down.
But don't get your fingers caught. Got a couple more tips. I raised this so that it's on the closer to the top, and the reason I do that is so that you don't burn the bottom of the cookies.
So they're gonna be on the top?
They're gonna be on this top one right here.
Oh.
Another tip is you want to get parchment paper, and not wax paper. Wax paper will smoke. Parchment paper, I get it from Costco. I don't know, they got a good deal. You get like a 2-pack and it lasts forever, and you can use it for anything. Pizza, like it's great because easy cleanup. You lay it down, put your pizza on it, add extra cheese, and then you're done. Like you just pick up the paper and it's clean. I don't know. I just have a little ice cream scoop, and I smash it down flat. I like them a little bit small. You can just use You can do it however you want, but this is what I found works the best, so I don't burn any of the edges or anything.
And that would have came in handy too. Like, I'm learning so much from watching it, because just hearing the recipe, you're not going to know exactly how to do it. And that's what I did. I went basically off the recipe, and I had cookies that were too big, too small, they ran into each other, and they were kind of dry. It was good with coffee though, I would dip them in my coffee. I literally told Michelle, I was like, can you record your therapy session so I can see like if I'm doing it right? Because I sometimes feel like, I was telling him this today, like I love my therapy and my therapy helps me stay strong and sane and whatever, but there's been times where I went like a week or two without and I spiraled and it made me kind of upset, because I'm like, so I guess it's kind of like a crutch, but in reality it's like I spiral regardless, but with the therapy and with what I've learned, I've been able to cope easier or help myself get out of the ruts, because they teach me certain things to ground myself or to stop doing. Like recently, the biggest issue I had recently with my therapist telling me, and you don't realize this until someone else tells you, but he was like, it sounds like you have a lot of negative self-talk, like you're beating yourself up for not healing fast enough from your last breakup or not knowing better. And he's like, can I ask you, does it help you to do those things? No, it doesn't.
I don't know. You know how some people like, I don't need therapy because unless there's an issue. I'm like, it's like exercise. You're not going to find a fit person that's actually in shape that says, I don't need to go to the gym. Or they wouldn't be fit.
Exactly, unless they're on steroids. But I was saying too, like I've only had one day in therapy where I actually had nothing to talk about, and I was like, life's pretty good, and I kind of was sad about that.
That was my today at therapy.
What'd you do? You just sat there?
We went for, this was my first time doing neurofeedback, and I did neurofeedback, and then afterwards she's like, okay, do you want to talk about, like our normal therapy session was already scheduled, and I was like, I'm kind of good. Like that neurofeedback really just like made me chill.
Mm-hmm. For anyone who doesn't know, neurofeedback is like they hook it up to, isn't like sticky stuff on your head?
Yeah, they'll mess up your hair and
then
it reads your brain or something.
It somehow, and you don't even have to be talking about anything, it somehow like corrects it for you, which is crazy. And I definitely want to try it, but I've only ever done the EMDR where it like vibrates in your hands.
I kind of felt like a little kid, because what you're doing is I was holding like a stuffed animal, and it vibrates if your mind's doing what it's supposed to do.
It could tell if you weren't doing it?
Yeah, because it's hooked up to the machine, just like your head.
Whoa.
So,
I want to go now.
It was fun.
Yeah, because I want to have more days where I'm sitting there like life's pretty good.
I think that's so weird, because you're always so good. Like you're almost like an unqualified therapist. That's just amazing.
But you know what I think it is? I saw this meme, which I shouldn't internalize memes, but I was like, that's me! It's the one where Ariana Grande is holding Pete Davidson's hand, and it's like, me, the guy is like, basically the most toxic human being ever, and me trying to be the therapist and help them. And I was like, that's true! Like, it's not that I seek them out, but I'm like, oh, I can tell what they're doing, and I'm trying to help them understand it, but you can't train them. They gotta just know for themselves that they want, because why would they change if they don't think it's an issue?
Right.
So I'm over here thinking that everyone wants to progress and be better, so let me like be there to help them, but
and make them have a YouTube channel where they cook, and
exactly.
Even though they're
forcing them to be like me.
just like helping them be better, even though they're just a complete narcissist.
Complete narcissist.
Get them out of this pan as quick as possible, because I want that bottom to be perfect, not burnt, not crispy, nothing. I want them chewy and extra good. All right.
Oh, by the way, how long did you cook this for?
Oh, we only baked them for 9 minutes because I like them a little mushy, and yes, they look like they're not done. You just have to let them sit on the counter for a little bit.
And then
they're just perfect, and look at the bottom. It's not brown, it's not burnt, they're just perfect and chewy and wonderful.
9 minutes at 350.
Oh my god.
That is good. Mm.
Thank you, Culture Crew.
We'll leave the ingredients and everything in the description box down below. Everything we talked about and referenced down below. And we hope you liked it.
Love you guys.
Love you guys. Bye. Oh, it looks so good.